guys saw, but last week the back end testing was completed for China's central bank digital currency. It's a big deal. It's ready to go, right? But at the same time, we've been having hearings on Capitol Hill, but it seems like the United States political machine is inundated and sort of at a couple different choke points on some other issues as well. But it's been a big week on the international side because the Bank of International Settlements just came out with their annual report yesterday, and actually one of the interesting things I found about that is the BIS is saying that it's not so much stable coins that are going to push the move towards a digital currency. It's the central banks, collective scheming and collective policy that will move us towards there. And I think that's honestly, frankly, a load of crap. That's such an old world status-minded thought. But that's just me coming out and swinging. But I did want to invite the conversation to this because by the time we get to the fall, I think we're gonna see the landscape settle as to who's going to be the real first nation state to sort of grab hold of this, right? So I invite some folks to sort of chime in. Jason, I don't know if you've picked up anything additional from what's going on Capitol Hill besides the hearings that Lynch has been holding, but I don't have as much insight as to what's going on in DC at the moment.
Jahan, I think you hit it really home, and I've had a lot of folks talk about this week. I just put an article in the chat that I think is really interesting to you. So today is the day that had been planned for a long time for China launching its blockchain services network. So it's a global commercial launch, and this article I put in connects the idea of digital currency with blockchain networks, and the type of society China would obviously be much different than what everyone on the phone is talking about, because it involves surveillance, economy, and down it talks about the connection possibly to Skynet and others. So there's a dangerous trend here that I just got off a call with some government folks who follow blockchain pretty carefully. And you're right. I mean, overall, we're just slow to respond to some of these things, but I think there's, starting to be some discussion that we can't just sit by and let this blockchain services network be developed along with the DCEP, because the two of them combined would mean, on blockchain rails, digital currency, as you said, they tested it. They've been working on it for years. And then if they start to use that with other countries, what does that mean for, the way we're used to enjoying and the privilege we have of the internet and finance and everything that's great that we talk about. So that's really what has everyone's attention, at least in the blockchain world on Capitol Hill, is kind of trying to make sense of what this actually means, what China has done with this, and what it means in terms of keeping, free markets with blockchain rails and digital currencies of our own.
Besides that, I think me, Jason, and I'd be curious to know your thoughts on this. Is so, I was responding to some folks on Twitter last week about, Bitcoin and where Bitcoin will stand in relation to like the emergent central bank digital currencies. And, my first gut reaction is this is a whole play just to circumvent the dollar, obviously. As long as there's a Bitcoin trading pair to the digital yuan, Bitcoin's got such like emergent liquidity anyway. This is a big time problem, and like it's baffling my mind. I kind of want to go bang on doors in DC at this point.
Yeah, I almost can't add anything to what you're saying. You're just spot on. I think there are some folks in NIST who, the Science and Technology Agency of the U.S. supporting commerce, that actually, if you look on GitHub, they're actually developing ways of using Bitcoin as part of our central bank digital currency. It would almost be a fork to Bitcoin, or what they've said is they want something that's like Ethereum, but without the smart contracts, if they could find some decentralized platform like that. So, I mean, I agree. I think there's a similar thought in my head of wanting to let's knock on some doors in DC about this, because it's a serious problem.
Yeah, it is. And here's my other concern too, is that it's only going to be exacerbated, this fall, because this fall is going to be an economic disaster, right? We've got a larger wave of COVID. It's a fact. I've talked to my folks at Hopkins. It's a fact. We're going to have a larger wave, and that's going to couple with year-end earnings, which I have news for everyone, is going to be terrible across the board, right? And then people are going to do out for a cash grab right after that. So it's not going to be pretty, and if there's a way to maybe kind of get in front of it, but I don't know. We might be at that point.